Okay, now let's do this section of the video. First off, while you're doing any scanning work, obviously you should have swept the chimney and it's all swept out. You want to remove your vacuum off to the side. Hopefully all your drop cloths are still down in place, so you want to protect the hearth. Other thing is, as you see, I have gloves on. I most of the times wear gloves when I'm scanning, and for the lack of, you wouldn't understand me,
I am your father.
that this isn't going to work. But if you are scanning and if there's still some residuals left, I highly recommend that you keep your respirator on. If you have to talk to the customer or whatnot, then you have to remove it, you remove it. But hopefully shouldn't be dust flying because you've swept the chimney. So I'm going to put this over in the back side here. The next thing I want to talk about is the rods. We do design rods that to work with the system, but we also make all the adapters to work with all the other manufacturers. I believe the ones I sent with you over there are for A.W. Perkins with the Rovac rods with a button lock to lock onto it, or if you wish to use the newer snap lock rods, there's an adapter there that you can use for those. So but each of the manufacturers have copied what I have here. Is they have a 1/2 inch rod, a 5/8 rod, and a 7/8 rod. When you're scanning mostly fireplaces, depending on your degree of angle, always try to go with the most lightweight rod to allow you to get inside the chimney. Once you're inside there, then you can go with a beefier rod like a 5/8 to get it up a little bit higher. If you wish to switch over to a thicker rod as you push up. Because remember, the more you push up the chimney, the less control you have. So if you kind of wonder why there's so many whiskers on this thing, it looks ungodly, you have to understand that once you're 20, 30 feet up inside a chimney, if you don't have these things on here, this camera's wobbling around and you're wasting your time because the camera's now bobbling out of control. So that's why we have the whiskers on it. The other thing we did too is we made them so that they're very flexible, so they'll bend down like this, really simple to go through dampers, and continue to pop back where they're at. You will find after a period of time, if it's in the case, they will all be bent down part of it as a memory. No big, you put it in the canister or the caddy backwards than the way they're bent, and you'll rebend them back where they want to be. It takes about a minute or so, and it's ready to go. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do just what I said. I'm going to start off with a 1/2 inch rod, which over there you'll either use a Rovac or use a snap lock rod. No biggie. Click it on. Now, if I never see this camera, remember, we also repair cameras for the last 30 years. So if you don't want me to see your camera, this is the biggest thing you can do. And tell your techs all to do this. While you're scanning the chimney, it is highly important that you keep, we have a Velcro strap to keep the Y bracket here for you on the rod, but is to keep the rod and the cable together. The more you do this, the less I will see this camera and the less chances you will have a repair. If you let it hang and do other things like this, anybody's camera is the same way. It gets off on the side and it gets stuck up on something. What's the first thing you want to do? You want to pull on it. And when you pull on it, you'll either pull the adapters, the connectors apart, or you'll rip the cable. So if you don't want me to see it and you want to be out there using it every day, if you continually use the rod and the cable together in one hand, you're ready to go. The other thing I like to do is because I like to go from the top camera first, and the reason I do that is it provides me the view that I want to see up inside. I don't have to climb in and go look at it. Let the camera do the work. As you see here, I have a cast damper system in here. There's also part of the chimney is parged. You can see it's over here. This is a training chimney, and over here is what it looks like if it's not parged. There is a 10-inch round stainless steel liner in here, so you can see that. So while you're working through it, but so all I have to do is basically allow me to get myself up inside the chimney. I can then direct it. Get myself a little bit more cable here. There we go. I can then direct the camera by my hand on it so I can actually see the liner. I can look around, I can see my transition. You can see there's a hole in there we use for training purposes. It's over on the right hand side of the screen right there. And then we can see how the liner is placed in there, and we just thoroughly put the camera right inside it. I'm going to change over to the other rod. I'm going to push that further. This is what you call an easy scan. Do the same thing here. And turn the camera a little bit like this. Then get my focal point. I can take it right up to the cap if I want to. So when I scan, most of the times I will stay in this view and I will go up through the chimney. And the reasons I do that, it gives me and the customer, if they're watching, to see that I'm actually going on a journey, and I'm showing them all the irregularities with the chimney's offset, misaligned liners. They see that really, really fast and easy. If the liners are cracked, I'll also see those. Not thoroughly, but I will see them a little bit. So once I get to the cap, then I can flip the camera over to this view, turn my direction on, and I can slowly lower the camera. Now, obviously, since I'm in a stainless steel liner, there's probably not a whole lot you're going to see. But if there's pinholes, if there's joints missing, if there's something that wasn't put together properly or abused when you put the liner in, you're going to see it. So this provides us the ability to come down. And as you can see, my cable becomes my D-mark. So I'm seeing 3 to 4 inches at a time. As I come back around here, you will see the cable. That's my D-mark to tell me that I've got there it is. I continue to come on down like so, and I know I've made a revolution as I come back down. And now I simply just take the rod off, come on down. It's kind of boring. There's the joint right there, my transition, so I can see that, look at that really well. See the openings at the top of the brickwork. I'll come around and you should see the hole right there going through it. And I can come down. And the cool part is I can also bring the camera to a point where I can look on the shelf. Okay, it lets me see the shelf. I can stop and go back and there we go, they're on the shelf right now. So here's the shelf here. I can look at it. I can actually turn it here a little bit if I want to manually do it. I can do it that way. If I need to take shots or images or whatever, I can do that from there. So I'm going to bring this rod off again. My cable is still supported away. I bring it down like so. And I complete the scan and I come out. That's a quick and easy way to do this. So at the structures that you have over there, you have the ability to go through most all your fireplaces without a problem. I will have a separate section set up on how to go through thimble chimneys. You can also go through units such as you see over here, the insert that's in there, but requiring to do that will require that you have to take the adapters off to get through it. You don't have enough room. So these all do come off and allow you to put the camera up through. In some cases, we also sometimes cannot use that camera, but we use just the top camera only to help you get through things like this. It's not the world's greatest, but it's really satisfying that if I'm on a cathedral roof, or I don't have to get on a cathedral roof, that I could scan the chimney from the inside of the stove to the top of the chimney and show the customer where the joints and things are together. It's really, really satisfying on my part and comforting to the customer that we thoroughly looked at the entire interior of the chimney going through up. So that's how you pretty much do the quick and easy style of scan. Thanks for watching.